It's me, Alex. It's just Alex.
Super Mario 64. What can I tell you that you haven't heard before? Okay. There are some things I want to say about this video game. Let me start with some actual factual details. Wikipedia states that Super Mario 64 is a 1996 platform video game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo 64. It is the first Super Mario game to use three-dimensional graphics. Whether this is true or not is up for debate, but what definitely is true is that while developers of 3D platformers at the time were confunded by the complexity of the third dimension, Nintendo just strolled in, navigating this new space flawlessly and delivering an instantaneous classic on their first attempt. Therefore, my score for Super Mario 64 is a 10 awesome childhood memories out of 10. Okay, that's not the end of the video either. I really should stop doing that. Because 10 is just a number. In the past, we've had little success scoring video games with a number, but more importantly, numbers by themselves are meaningless and don't explain anything about why I feel so strongly about this game. I recently went back and played Super Mario 64 to try and understand why I loved it so much as a child and to see if I still felt the same way about it as a not child. So in this video, I will attempt to explain why I love Super Mario 64. Spoiler alert, I am a biased twat! Now, to describe my perception of the game, I thought I should describe how I first experienced the game. Before I had a console of my own, I had an older cousin up the road who had a SNES, and I was fascinated by it. Every time I went over, I wanted to finish all the boring talking to people and eating the food and go and play the beginning of Super Mario World or Secret of Mana again. I always loved games, but I never had the opportunity to play them at home. Until the Christmas of 1996, when my parents got me a Nintendo 64, along with two games, Mario 64 and Yoshi's Story. Unlike my cousin's SNES, this was 3D gaming. I was stoked. I played both games as that was all I had at the time. Of the two games, Super Mario 64 was easily my favourite, and therefore I declared it to be the best game of all time. Take that, Yoshi's Story, only the second best / worst game of all time for you. Something about the game resonated with me. I liked Mario, I liked the world. I distinctly remember playing the game when my grandmother, or Nonna, was around. Our family was Italian and Mario was Italian, so I thought she might be interested in it. She was of course not interested in fancy video games at all, because I was using stupid kid logic. Nevertheless, Super Mario 64 had a profound impact on me. It is responsible for getting me into gaming and has influenced what I look for in a game. Before Mario 64, Mario games involved running left to right across various 2D levels in an attempt to reach the end of the level and bomb a castle or score a touchdown or whatever. These levels were challenging, sometimes had puzzles, and gave the feeling of Mario travelling across the world with the world map connecting the levels, as in Super Mario World for the SNES. Super Mario 64, as I'm sure you know, is based on 15 3D worlds, connected by a hub world which is Peach's castle. As the levels are open sandpits without a fixed endpoint, the goal of the level is to get stars, and in each world there are 6 stars which can be placed behind combat encounters, platforming sections, or puzzles. Stars are pivotal for the game as they are needed to progress through the castle, allowing you to access more levels and eventually to reach Bowser and get him for being a bad dude. By making the levels less linear, a full 3D world can be exploited. At the start of each level, players had the choice where they wanted to go, with each part of the level offering different challenges. This offers players a bit more agency than a linear level, where players mostly have only one option, go to the right. For me personally, this really increased the sense of exploration in the world, but thinking about it, Nintendo could have continued to do 2D levels but with a 3D aesthetic, like New Super Mario Bros. Or something similar was done in Mario Sunshine with the linear secret levels. But, opinion alert, I think these stages suck testicles. I'm really glad they didn't stick with a similar linear design and instead went with this new sandbox type approach. Although 3D linear levels do exist, for instance, Tick-Tock Clock is arguably quite a linear level, there are still deviations and shortcuts rather than one straight path. There is a minor issue with this structure though. When you get a star, you are kicked from the level, forcing you to start from the beginning with the next star. It has been further improved on since, noticeably by Banjo-Kazooie, which doesn't kick the players from the level after getting a jiggy. But this has never bothered me, even after playing Banjo-Kazooie, as I feel levels change sometimes significantly for different stars, which I assume required the player to be kicked off the level for various technical reasons, and I don't agree with the argument of being kicked from the level, making it more repetitive, as the levels were meant to be played multiple times, and each time you could head in a different direction from the starting point and attack different challenges. This argument holds less water for the linear levels though. I don't see how this is more repetitive than 2D Mario, which when you die, would kick you back to the beginning of the level anyway. But that could be because I suck at 2D Mario and I found myself repeating levels way more repeatedly than Super Mario 64. All this 3D level stuff is old news to you now, but to think that this concept was new for the time. The success of this approach is shown by many other platformers that emulated the same structure. Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro, Jak and Daxter in the years after Super Mario 64's release, or even Mario Odyssey, the current latest mainline Mario release. I think this is the perfect progression of 2D Mario gaming. Mario 64 has beautiful, colourful 3D worlds. There are 15 worlds in the game, not including bonus levels and Bowser stages, and they didn't suffer the same lack of variation that Mario Sunshine's levels did, although that game was going for a consistent theme. Oh, another water level? Cool! Disclaimer, the worlds in that game did have unique themes and ideas, like the hotel level, but back to Mario 64. Each level succeeded in offering its own challenges, and as such all levels felt unique from each other. But you might say in the comments, but Arnold, there are 2 ice levels for Crimini's Biscuit. That's true, but they both felt very different. Hell, one ice level was about descending down the mountain on your butt, and the other was about climbing up a huge snowman. And fighting invisible frogs over pits of ice lava? Duh? I'll never do that again, sorry about that. Similarly, there were 2 water levels, but again, the different challenges made each feel unique, even though you both had to swim through the majority of the level. I have to say the second water level was my least favourite, mainly due to that long, boring swim down the corridor needed to get between the 2 main areas of the level. But even that had the submarine and the underwater tornado, and the manta rays, and the sharks. Sharks! Where Jolly Roger Bay had the ship, and the scary underwater serpent nightmare that will haunt my dreams forever and ever. But if ice and water doesn't get your goat, all world biomes are covered in this game. You want lava? You should check out Lethal Lava Land. You want desert? You should check out Lethal Sandland. Trust me, this level is very lethal. You want to climb a tower? Thwomp's Fortress. Dingy Cave? Hazy Maze Cave. Spooky haunted house full of spookmen? Big Boo's Mansion. You want a level showing the hardships of war? Bob-omb Battlefield. You want to traverse a mushroom mountain, go inside a clock, and ride carpets on rainbows in the clouds? You should stop taking LSD. What was great about these levels is the designers had 6 chances for you to do interesting things in them with the 6 stars. Each star would require you to tackle a certain obstacle in that level, either a fight or a platforming or a puzzle or a mixture of all 3. This led to some really cool and intense set pieces. I think we all remember fighting King Bob-omb for the first time. We had to climb this mountain in the first place, dodging balls, and then he was so huge and then you had to run around him, in 3D no less, and throw him to the floor. I always threw him off the mountain, which I thought would be way more deadly, but that never did the job. You just had to throw him on the floor. And then Star 2, we had to race Koopa the Quick up to the top of the same mountain and see no king there, and then remember, oh yeah, we killed him. Some of the stars that really stood out in my mind include teasing the eel out of the ship and then going inside and raising it from within. Returning the baby penguin to the mother, but not the fake baby penguin that sits 2 feet from its not mother like a little baby penguin troll. Punching the secret library code while books fly at you in Big Boo's Mansion. Entering the volcano in Lethal Lava Land and finding a huge environment way bigger than the size of the volcano in the overworld. The 8 raid coin section in the town part in the wet dry world. Descending an elevator and seeing Nessie in Hazy Maze Cave, where there were 2 stars and the entrance to the metal cap section. Finding the secret of the pyramid and watching the pyramid reveal a new entrance, leading to a boss fight. In fact, secrets in general jump to mind. The secret slide in Tall Tall Mountain, the secret chip off the wall in Thwomp's Fortress. How about reaching the top of the castle in the sky in Rainbow Ride, which to me might be the hardest platforming section in the whole game. Even in this short list, the list of challenges required by the player is quite extensive, and in 1996, these challenges were absolutely unique and at times, breathtaking. The monkey can go fuck himself, however. I would like to give a shout out to my favourite world, Tiny Huge Island. A cool world on its own without the gimmick, which is where players can choose one of two paintings to jump into and enter the world at a very different scale. In fact, the different corridors in Peach's castle perfectly explain this mechanism before you even jump in. Successful traversal between both forms of the level was necessary for obtaining stars. Traversing the large world was physically difficult with extremely high ledges, vast distances, and humongous, menacing enemies. However, traversing the tiny world was physically difficult, with extremely small paths surrounded by oblivion and microscopic enemies who were threatening as they could subtly nudge or burn Mario right off the level geometry. It is a fantastic level, and if you have a chance to find 5 secrets in the tiny level, I would recommend it. However, these levels do not exist in a vacuum or on a level select page. No, Peach's castle was the connective tissue, and I have to say I love this castle. From the very beginning of the game, the courtyard looks awesome. Right off the get-go, the world looks amazing. It has greens, yellows, reds and blues, all colours needed to make a happy Alex. A bright, safe area to practice Mario's iconic Z+B move. And the castle interior is so iconic. What was great about the castle is it gave all of these extremely diverse levels context. Yes, you had to buy the jump into a painting to get transported to a world thing, which, let's be honest, we all did. But one of the oddities of this painting to world mechanism with Peach's castle is when the game changes this rule. What I mean by this is that at first the game gets you used to jumping into paintings to access levels like it was nothing. Then at level 5 you find boos in the courtyard, and inside one boo is another level which you automatically shrink down to access. This is drastically different and shocking, seeing Mario shrink out of sight, but at the same time you can feel that connection to the level as you can see the cage from the outside and the inside. Okay, so we see some new ways to enter the level. Later still, Bowser's water/sub level is behind some shimmying water barrier, which shimmies just like the paintings. Once again, the game throws something new at the player, but the connection of water to the level makes sense. And after boarding Bowser's sub in the water level, the water signifying the stage pushes back to reveal Bowser's second stage, which was a cool touch. Wait, why was the entrance to Shifting Sandlands just a wall? Why was the entrance to Hazy Maze Cave a liquid Terminator pool? And why was the entrance to Snowman Land hidden by a mirror-based puzzle? These questions have no real answer, and because of this, for me, as a child, they create a huge amount of fascination in the world. And of course, the way you entered some levels affected the level itself, such as the minute hand on TikTok clock affecting the speed of the mechanical pieces in the level, or the height you entered the wet-dry world painting affecting the starting water level. This was never explained to the player directly, but once you figured it out from entering the levels several times, which inherently you have to do, you feel like an Albert freaking Einstein, and suddenly the level opens up with new possibilities. Exploring Peach's castle won't just reveal new levels, but you may also stumble across several castle secrets. The secret slide comes to mind, as well as the 3 cap levels, which when completed provided the player with 3 power-ups for Mario. One secret in the basement involved ground pounding the pillars, changing the water level for the moat, and when I did this I was blown away that I had such a profound impact on the level. All of these details, the gorgeous castle garden, the interior, the castle secrets, the varied level entrances, which sometimes affect the level itself, all this helped to exponentially increase my sense of wonder in the world. Imagine Mario 64 levels without Peach's castle. But just as you have your interesting 3D worlds filled with varying challenges, players needed movement options to complete said challenges in said worlds. And let me tell you, Mario controls in this game, and this is not an exaggeration, like a diamond knife heated to 6,000 degrees centigrade, passing through a dairy product containing up to 80% butterfat. The point is he controls really well. It is incredible how well Nintendo got character movement in a 3D space on their first attempt. Mario's moveset was, back in the day, extremely thorough. Remember 2D Mario? He could run faster, and jump. Later he could belly flop, but that's about it. Mario's transition to 3D gave him a far more enhanced moveset. He doesn't jump anymore, no siree. What we have here is a double jumping, triple jumping, jumping off walls, long jumping back, flipping Mario. He can even do this. What is this? What does this move do? Why can I do this? I love it. If you run and press Z and B, he does this. A completely useless but utterly glorious move. And that's just his jumps, ladies and gentlemen. He can also interact with the environment with the A button and the not A button on the Nintendo 64 controller. One minor issue with Mario's moveset is the standard B button punch. It is hardly ever used as it slows your movement, and this is a Mario game after all. He can pick up boxes with this punch, but only very infrequently. His best B move is the jump B move, where Mario breaks all laws of physics when, in mid-air, Mario hurls himself forward at great speed and attacking enemies on the way down. This lack of congruity with the third law of motion would make Isaac Newton have a stroke. But who cares, because this game has good game feel. Nintendo's attention to detail really shows, I believe, with the trees. These arboreous fellows look atrocious in the game, but the ways Mario can interact with them are exceptional. Jump a tree and he holds on, and he can climb them. Turn to the side and Mario rotates around the tree. Press A and he jumps off. Climb to the top and Mario flips upside down. Press A in this position and Mario does a fancy dismount. Why? Because. And it's great. Mario Odyssey, when it was released in 2018, was highly praised, and one aspect that people lauded and assisted speedrunners and even players who participated in Luigi's balloon race was the extremely fluid movement of Mario. Stringing together moves, gaining momentum, and maintaining altitude was fun and challenging. That movement derived from the movement in Super Mario 64, albeit far improved with the addition of Cappy. You might not believe me, but in Super Mario 64, you can string attacks together to gain momentum and height. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know how to explain this combination of moves. I'm not good at it at all, but to prove my point without any words, look at how speedrunners break the game. Nintendo, especially Mario games, are known for their good story. Peach tells Mario she made a cake. Mario goes to the castle because he likes cake. Uh-oh, Princess is kidnapped. Mario cleans up her castle. 1, 2, 3, do some Tai Chi. Peach kisses Mario on his face tumor. Boing! It's a happy end. Do you all want 20 stars? Shoot yourself out of a cannon. Hey, there's Yoshi. Is there Luigi? Nah, we don't need him. Okay, so you might be asking the question, Andrew, you had to play this game again to get footage of this video. I don't give a flying fructus what the game was like in its day and how you thought about it as a kid. How do you feel about the game now? And I would answer that question by saying, okay, rude. And secondly, well, I don't feel like I did as a 7-year-old, for obvious reasons. A shitload of life experiences might have something to do with that. But I very much enjoyed my time with it, even if I was reminding myself of my own nostalgia. That being said, it wasn't all great. Mario looks like a shoe, Lakitu can still fuck right off, and there are a few stars that were more frustrating than fun. But I still really enjoy and respect this game. Is it in part because of my nostalgia and my experiences with the game which has defined me as a video game boy? Absolutely. I cannot untangle my perception of the game from these experiences. As a kid, I would excitedly sit down in my living room and play the shit out of this game. For hours I would explore all that the world had to offer, and when I thought I found everything, I would start a new save. While I am no longer that kid, he and I both have something in common. We both love Super Mario 64. Pizza. Pasta. Princess Peach. What? I mean a linguine.